Well, that's the wonkiest hinge effort think I've ever made. This one's slightly angled downwards, this one's kind of square. But what's impressed me is bugging me if it doesn't actually work.
And the wild appeared from the desert's hot embrace to the cool of eucalyptus shade. No fence holds back the spirit of the path we bravely made. Ten adventures we won't be tamed, blazing trails where wildfires reign.
G'day campers, welcome back to 10 Adventures and welcome to 2025 and another year of hopefully more videos than I've released in the last 12 months. We'll see how we go. Today's video, I've been umming and ahhing about what to do for a rubbish bin for our caravan. When I say rubbish bin, I want something external that we can put bags of dog poop, general waste, food scraps, etc. That is going to be secure. So, you know, if we're camped up for a night, wildlife can't get into it, dogs can't get into it if they're out on their own for a little bit. And basically just ensure that we don't have any smells in the caravan. So, trying to work out what we do, I started looking at, our current solution. This is a $5 rubbish bin that we bought from Kmart. And look, it does the job. It's not secure. It's not sealable. The only reason we've got the chain there is so the thing doesn't blow away. It's very lightweight. Light is good, but let's be honest, it's not really what we're looking for. So looking at it and going, well, it's in our jerry can holder. We're not using the jerry can holders to carry fuel at the moment. So what options have we got? So I had a little bit of a look online. Originally, the idea of this video was going to be to show you what you can do as a bin solution for you can buy online and sell straight in your jerry can. And there's really not a lot out there. What I was able to find that is purpose-built is incredibly expensive. We're talking $300 odd, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but they're coming from the US. You're paying the Australia tax on it, and you're also paying the ridiculously low exchange rate that we have currently, so it increases the price even more. I haven't really been able to find anything locally, and so I was scratching my head on what to do about it, and the thought that came to mind was, well, if we're trying to put it in a jerry can holder, why not use a jerry can? So we're going to convert a metal jerry can into a rubbish bin, or if you're so inclined, into a washing machine. So you can use it for either. For our purposes, primarily it is going to be as a rubbish bin, but drop a plastic bag in, keep it clean. Yeah, you should be able to use it as a washing machine as well. So what are we going to need for this? First and foremost, you're going to need a jerry can. Now, I've bought this one brand new. Cost me, I think, $59 from Bunnings. Now, you could do this with a plastic jerry can, which would be somewhat cheaper, but it won't be as durable. And frankly, I'm not sure how well it'll hold up after long-term use. So I've got a metal one. Very, very important here. We are going to be using an angle grinder on this. So the immediate concerns there from a safety perspective is do not use an old jerry can. If it's got any fuel residue in there, you are going to do yourself and anybody within several meters of you significant injury if that thing blows. By all means, try and wash it out, but look, for my personal situation, I'm not going to do that. I have been caught many, many years ago. I was caught in a barbecue explosion. Got second-degree burns to 20% of my body. That was not fun, and so I'm not going to do anything that risks explosion. I'm still slightly traumatized. So let's use a new jerry can. We're going to need some pinch weld. We're going to need a couple of butt hinges. We're going to need a tensionable latch, similar to what you might find on storage boxes and other things. We're going to need the roof nut tool. We're going to need a Sharpie. We're going to need something to measure a straight line across the entirety of the top 1/3 of the jerry can. And we're also going to need some 12mm M5 bolts. All right, on top of all that extra gear, a couple of things you are going to need as well. You are going to need an angle grinder. You are going to need some safety gear for wearing while angle grinding. Safety glasses, not sunglasses. Definitely use some proper safety glasses. I will be changing these out. You're going to need a long sleeve cotton shirt, cotton pants, safety gloves, and ear protection. Now, I think I'm going to have to use ear inserts. I don't have over-ear covers. Now, all of that said, here's me talking about being safe with angle grinders, and not putting petrol, not using a petrol jerry can that you've filled before, and all that kind of stuff. Full disclosure, this is going to be my first time using an angle grinder. I have inherited my late father's angle grinder, and this is the first time I'm using it 4 years after passed. So this could all go horribly wrong. I've been assured by the guys in the local hardware store that I spoke to that I've got the right cutting blade, I've got the right stuff, and should be right. It's a very Australian attitude, that should be right. Let's see how we go. I'm going to go and get some safety gear on, and then we'll start marking up the jerry can. Wish me luck. This could be a short video. Slight change of plans. I'm actually going to start working on the jerry can first before I put a long sleeve shirt on. It's 30-something degrees out here. It's the reason I'm wearing sunglasses is it's really sunny. I'm standing in the shadow, but unfortunately behind the camera is pure sunshine, and it's rather bright out. So I'm going to start working on the jerry can and show you how we're going to do that, and then we'll start cutting after I've prepped that up. Okay, so the general idea here is we want to try and cut roughly the sort of the top almost quarter of the jerry can off. You want to leave enough edge along here to be able to attach your locking clamp. That's probably going to go on one of the sides rather than the center because of this seam. So you'll need enough room for that. You're also going to need enough room for a couple of hinges on the back. And the reason I've got two, again, because of the seam, rather than trying to put one hinge over it, it is slightly raised over the edge. So rather than trying to do a single hinge and shaving off some of this, we're just going to do two hinges either side. Yeah, that could get a little interesting as I try to open this, because I don't know if I don't get those straight perfectly. They're going to fight each other and make opening this very, very difficult, and not the greatest mod that I've done in my life. As I say, this could all go very, very wrong, but if it does, look, it's about, I reckon I spent probably $80 in total just in the parts for this, not including the nutsert tool, which, as I say, has been fantastic and used multiple places around the house. Anyway, how are we going to cut this evenly? Well, I thought about that quite a lot. I've got this set square, and it turns out if I knock that around the edge, it's going to be almost where I want it. And when I attach the Sharpie, that's going to bring it up a little bit further. It's going to give me plenty of room for what I'm trying to do. Now, the only question is how well I'm going to go with the Sharpie. This, as I said earlier, this could go very wrong, but all we can do is give it a shot, right?
You wanna get away, you better get in line. Won't go another day of wasting any time. I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. No filter, I got no filter. No filter, I got no filter. No filter, I got no filter.
Alright, so if the amount of sparks coming off and hit me in the face on that weren't enough to go by, I'm very glad I had these on. That was just blowing sparks straight up in my face just from the direction it spins. And yeah, straight up my arms, everything. So yeah, it's hot, but I'm glad I'm wearing all of this, I can tell you. Yeah, that's it. I have made a bit of a mess of it. As you can probably see here, I've got quite a loose bit of metal here, which I'm just going to clean up with the angle grinder. And then we'll get to the next stage. Now, I'm not too worried by some of this. This is why I've got the pinch weld. Yeah. It should be alright in the end. Alright. So again, I've got 5 meters of pinch weld. I think that's probably about a meter in total, so I don't think I'm going to run short. But let's see how we go. So the first thing, let's find the end of it. Right, well that's the bottom of the can done. Time to shift to the top. Of course, the idea of this pinch weld is so that once we've got it all on, the two portions can seal against each other when it's closed and keep any odors, or if you're using this as a washing machine, keep the water from bouncing out. Now, I don't think it's going to be completely watertight, but I think she'll do for the moment. Well, surprisingly, that actually looks all right. And amazingly, also looks like it's going to fit together all right too. I'll be honest, it's not perfect, but it could definitely be worse. All right, now it's onto the hinges. We're now on to putting the hinges on, and I can already see a potential problem with my whole scheme. I've got a couple of butt hinges, and I mentioned before that, I didn't want to be fighting against this center rib here. The problem is what I'm seeing is that the sides of this, they're not square. So I might be fighting against myself anyway. So I've got my little butt hinges, and these have got roughly a 4mm, probably 5mm hole in them. I'm going to use a 4mm drill bit initially just to get the starting holes, just so they're about as even as I can get to the center of this. And I'm going to widen them with a 7mm head for the riv nut on the inside of this. So all I'm going to do is basically just try and align these as straight as possible with the join. Draw out the holes here. I'll mark that out a bit. Just going to drill a little bit through my pinch weld. I'm not too worried. And just mark that out there. I'm just going to drill it out and see how we go. So what I'm thinking is I'm actually going to just drill the first hole. Riv nut it so that it's sealed. I can bolt this on to do the second nut. That might make my life easier. One day I'll get good at this. One day. Alright, so I'm now going to assemble my riv nut tool. It's going to loosen this bit at the back here so I can push through the bit that does all the work. Open that up. And basically what's going to happen here, I'm going to put a rib nut on here, and as you close this, it pulls that tight. Pull that back a little bit, so a little room. I should change that out for the correct head. So this does have interchangeable heads, and in case you've sewn them up too tight like I have, nice little tool to get them undone. This just means it's going to be centered. As I said, this cost me, I'm pretty sure it was less than 40 bucks, but look, to be honest, it could have been as much as 70. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but really happy with it nonetheless. All right, so now I'm going to take an M5 rib nut and just screw that onto the end of this, and then basically we're just going to slot that into the hole we just made, assuming it fits, which it does. Just going to move the pinch weld out of the way for the second. This is actually going to be a really good way to show you how this all works. Just peel that pinch weld back. So as you can see here, I've got the rib nut tool in the hole. I'm just going to squeeze the handle together, and it just compresses the whole thing, making basically a captured nut on the inside of the steel. Then you just unscrew this, make sure that doesn't turn, which it won't. I should point out, I'll just grab another ref nut for you. So when you're doing these, I don't know if you can see here on this video, but it's textured on the outside. That's the part that compresses, and those little teeth expand and bite into the steel, which is what makes this such a good tool. I used this to repair a gate and a few other bits and pieces the other day. Bigger nutsert, but just worked wonders. So yeah, if you're not convinced yet, I don't know what else I can say to you. They're bloody good. Now, for all intents and purposes, I think I'm actually doing this all right. But it's not going to surprise me at all if I can't open this when I'm done. But, look, you know, it's a learning experience for me, and you guys get to come along with the journey. The advantage of the rib nuts, of course, I can just take these on and off as I go, as I prep this up. And I can definitely tell which of my drill bits are sharper. Let's see how we go getting it together. All right, I'm going to stop the camera now. I'm just going to put the next one in. You don't need to watch me do all of that. And then we'll have a bit of a laugh as to whether or not this actually works. Jury is definitely out. See you in a sec. Well, that's the wonkish hinge effort I think I've ever made. This one's slightly angled downwards. This one's kind of square. But what's impressed me is bugger me if it doesn't actually work. I did a thing. Badly, but I did a thing. All right. So before I get too happy and congratulatory of myself, a little bit to do on the front here. So at the moment, just opens and shuts. I've kind of munted this. I might just replace this whole piece of pinch weld. But the other thing I want to do is put this catch onto it. So this is the catch. Very similar to, actually, larger one of these was what held the roof down on our hop top Caravan that we had previously, the MDC. Pretty straightforward. Being tensionable, I'm actually not too worried about how I do this bit because I can just loosen or tighten this screw piece as I need to get it to work. But that aside, we're still going to follow the same basic principle that we followed before, and that is riv nuts and bolts. Let's get into it. So I'm thinking I'm only going to go one side on this, and I don't need to worry about the pinch weld so much, so I'm just going to line it up and just make sure that my existing drill bit will get through it, which it will, and also make sure that the bolts get through it, which they also will. I did a visual check, but before I started, but my confidence wasn't high. I don't think these things through. That's not gone well. This one's going to be a little bit trickier. I've got my sort of starting point. I'm going to use a thinner to the drill bit. Straight up to the top. That's on and it works. It holds, it's tight, it's not actually going anywhere. That's actually remarkably rigid. And look at me if it doesn't actually open. So I guess the only thing to find out is does it fit in the Caravan? Rip a $5 Kmart bucket out. I'm actually genuinely not unhappy. As I say, is it the best piece of work I've ever done? No. Could you do a better job at home? Almost certainly, because I'm not good at this stuff. So if I can do this, anybody can, in all seriousness. That said, look, definitely recommend the nut certs for your hinges and for your catch. Not that easily adjustable once the holes are in, but it is going to keep it in a. Well, it does mean I can remove everything, take the top off, clean it, whatever I need to do. All in all, there you have it. One rubbish bin. This one's not going to work as a washing machine. There's a little bit too much of a gap on this side for it to not slosh all your water out away, but could be better. Could have been a hell of a lot worse. And only one minor blood spilling on the way. Well, guys, hope you've enjoyed this one. Please do leave me some comments below on how you would have done this differently, because I may end up doing it again just to do a slightly better job, but as a prototype, I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, very soon we're going to be in Port Welshpool doing a bit of fishing our friend's boat. So if we actually catch anything, I might have some good fishing footage for you. And on that note, a big shout out to Matt's Fishing Escapes, who's based in South Australia. I did catch up with him when we were on our little mini lap. We recorded a couple of videos together, and my one didn't work out. So the idea was that we were going to, we went out, we caught some squid, and the idea was I was going to do a video on how we prepared it, how we cooked it, and just a little bit of a back and forth about each other's channels. My side of the video didn't work, and as a result, Matt hasn't published his one. So I'll leave a link to Matt's channel below. He's absolute superstar. Purity Fishing, check him out. Other than that, guys, look forward to seeing you in the next one. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon.